How Ghana turned on its own royal family. December 2022, Al Janoub Stadium, Qatar, Ghana versus Uruguay. André Ayew steps up to the penalty spot. 25 million Ghanaians hold their breath. This is it. Redemption for 2010. A chance to rewrite history. He strikes the ball. The goalkeeper dives. And in that split second, a dynasty crumbles. Not just because of a missed penalty, but because a nation finally decided it had enough of its own royal family. This is the story of the Ayews, 2 generations of direct Ghanaian football royalty with deep family roots across multiple generations. A dynasty that went from being worshipped as gods to being treated like parasites, from national heroes to public enemies. How does a bloodline that gave Ghana some of its greatest moments become so hated that fans celebrate when they are dropped? How does a father's legend becomes his son's curse? This is more than football. It is about what happens when a country builds myths around mortals, when inherited greatness meets impossible expectations, when love turns to resentment and heroes become villains. Because in Ghana, football isn't just a game, it is a religion, and the Ayews learned the hardest lesson of all: even gods can fall. 5th November 1964, Chebi, Ghana. A boy is born who will change everything. His name is Abedi Ayew, but the world will know him as Abedi Pele. And that nickname tells you everything about the expectation placed on this man from day one. Pele, the Brazilian god of football, the standard against which all greatness is measured. And here was Ghana's answer. But Abedi didn't just live up to the comparison. In many ways, he surpassed it. 1993, Olympic Marseille versus AC Milan, UEFA Champions League final. Abedi Pele weaves through Milan's like silk through wind. His creativity, his vision, his magic with the ball helps Marseille claim European football's ultimate prize. He becomes the first African to lift the Champions League. Not just a participant, a star, a game changer. The awards follow like worship at an altar. African Player of the Year 3 times in a row: 1991, 1992, 1993. An unprecedented run of dominance. But here's what made Abedi truly special in Ghanaian hearts. He never forgot where he came from. 1982, Libya, Africa Cup of Nations final, Ghana versus Libya. 17-year-old Abedi Pele helps Ghana claim continental glory, their 4th AFCON title. The crowd in Accra goes wild. Fireworks light up the sky. This is what football immortality feels like. But there's one dream that will haunt Abedi forever. One stage he will never grace despite all his continental and European success: the FIFA World Cup. Despite all his individual brilliance, despite conquering Europe and Africa, Abedi Pele never gets to showcase his magic on football's biggest stage. Ghana fails to qualify for every World Cup during his prime years. This unfulfilled dream doesn't just hurt Abedi, it creates a national obsession, a debt that must be paid by the next generation. Because in Ghana, football legacies aren't just personal, they are hereditary. And when you name your sons André and Jordan, when you raise them in the shadow of greatness, you are not just giving them opportunity, you are giving them an inheritance of expectations that could either make them or destroy them. But Abedi understood something crucial about modern football. Talent alone isn't enough. You need infrastructure, networks, opportunity. So he invests in his sons' futures before they can even walk properly. André starts training at 1860 Munich when he is 7 years old. Jordan follows the same path. But more importantly, Abedi uses his relationship with Olympic Marseille to open doors. When André is ready, he joins his father's former club. When Jordan comes of age, the same path awaits. This is not just family planning, it is dynasty building, creating a pipeline from Ghanaian talent to European excellence. Other African families take notice. The blueprint is clear. If you want your children to succeed in football, you need more than talent. You need connections. You need a name that opens doors. But what Abedi doesn't anticipate is how this very success will later be weaponized against his sons. How the advantages he creates for them will be seen as unfair privileges. How his loving investment in their careers will be twisted into accusations of nepotism. Because in Ghana, there's a fine line between inspiration and expectation, between opportunity and entitlement, and his sons will spend their entire career walking that line. 2007, André Ayew is 17 years old when he gets his first call-up to Ghana's senior national team. Most teenagers will be terrified. The weight of representing 25 million people, the pressure of following in legendary footsteps. André embraces it because from the moment he steps onto the pitch, something is obvious. This isn't just Abedi's son. This is a player with his own special gifts. 2009, Egypt, FIFA Under-20 World Cup final. Ghana vs Brazil. André captains Ghana to their first ever FIFA trophy at any level. The boy who grew up hearing stories about his father's greatness creates his own legend. His leadership on the pitch is magnetic. His technical ability undeniable. Ghana celebrates like they've won the Senior World Cup because in many ways they have. The next generation has arrived. Ayew dynasty has a worthy heir. But football in the 2000s is different from the Abedi's era. It is more global, more scrutinized, more unforgiving. Every decision André Ayew makes is analyzed through the lens of his surname. When he chooses to represent Ghana over France, it is seen as honorable patriotism. When he signs with Marseille instead of exploring other options, whispers begin about preferential treatment. The media landscape has changed too. Social media gives every fan a platform, every opinion a megaphone, every criticism a viral moment. André Ayew learns early that being an Ayew in the digital age means your mistakes are magnified and your successes are questioned. Did he score that goal because of talent or because opponents go easy on Abedi's son? The psychological burden no amount of training can prepare you for. Jordan Ayew grows up in an even more complex situation. He's not just following his father's footsteps, he's following his brothers too. While André is winning the Under-20 World Cups and earning senior caps, Jordan is still trying to establish himself in youth football. The comparisons are inevitable and cruel. André is the player, Jordan is just the brother. But Jordan possesses something different from his father and older brother. While Abedi was magical and André is passionate, Jordan is patient, methodical, resilient in ways that won't be appreciated until much later. Following the family tradition, he eventually joins Marseille too. The family reunion is complete. 3 Ayews in the famous white jersey. But what looks like a fairy tale from the outside is becoming something more complicated because Ghana hasn't won a major trophy since 1982. And the longer that drought continues, the more pressure builds on anyone wearing the black and white stars, especially if your last name is Ayew. 2010 South Africa FIFA World Cup. Ghana's first World Cup on African soil. This is it, the moment 3 generations of Ghanaians have waited for. Abedi's unfulfilled dream will be completed by his son. André performs brilliantly. His energy and creativity help Ghana reach the quarterfinal, that is any African team has ever gone at a World Cup. But then comes the penalty shootout against Uruguay. The handball, the missed penalty by Asamoah, dreams shattered in the cruelest possible way. André watches from the sideline, suspended from the most important match of his life due to yellow card accumulation. The irony is devastating. Just like his father, who missed the 1992 AFCON final through suspension, he comes agonizingly close to glory but can't participate in the defining moment. The defeat creates a national trauma, but it also creates something else, an obsession with completing the mission. By 2015, André Ayew has evolved into Ghana's leader, not just on paper, but emotionally. When teammates struggle, he encourages them. When critics attack, he defends the team. When the pressure mounts, he shoulders it. Africa Cup of Nations 2015, Equatorial Guinea. André Ayew leads Ghana to the final. He wins the Golden Boot with 3 goals and leads in assists. His performances are magnetic, dragging his team through match after match. But in the final against Ivory Coast, history repeats. Penalty shootout, heartbreak, so close to glory, yet so far. André doesn't just lose a tournament, he loses something deeper, because for the first time, some Ghanaians begin to question whether the Ayews are blessed or cursed. 4 years later comes the moment that changes everything, the captaincy controversy. May 2019, Ghana Football Association headquarters. Coach Kwesi Appiah announces that André Ayew will be the new Black Stars captain, replacing the beloved Asamoah Gyan. The reaction is volcanic. Gyan, Ghana's all-time leading goal scorer and the hero of multiple World Cups, feels the decision deeply. He dramatically announces his retirement from international football, only to reverse the decision 24 hours later after intervention from Ghana's president. The compromise sees Gyan return as a general captain, while André Ayew leads the team on the field. The damage is done. For the first time, André Ayew is seen not as the natural leader who earned the armband, but as someone who took it from a more deserving hero. The narrative shifts. Suddenly, every selection decision involving the Ayews is scrutinized for favoritism. Every poor team performance is blamed on the Ayew agenda. Social media explodes with theories about behind-the-scenes influence, about Abedi pulling strings at the GFA, about a family that considers the national team their personal property. None of it is proven, but all of it sticks in the minds of people. While André Ayew battles public perception as captain, Jordan faces his own challenges. He has become a regular for the national team. The criticism is relentless. Too slow, too selfish, only there because of his name. Every missed chance is evidence of nepotism. Every poor touch is proof that meritocracy is dead in Ghanaian football. But here's what the critics miss. Jordan never misses a penalty for Ghana. He never turns down a call-up. He plays through injuries and exhaustion because representing his country means everything to him. The irony is cruel. A player who gives everything for Ghana is treated like he is stealing from it. January 2022, Cameroon, Africa Cup of Nations. Ghana arrives as one of the favorites. André is the captain. Jordan is a key player. The Ayew brothers are supposed to finally deliver the trophy that has eluded Ghana for 4 decades. Instead, they deliver the worst AFCON performances in decades. Group stage exit, winless, finishing bottom of their group with just 1 point, humiliated by Comoros, a small island nation that had never before beaten Ghana. But the moment that breaks everything happens early in the match against Comoros. André Ayew receives a red card in the 25th minute and is sent off. Ghana is reduced to 10 men. Despite fighting back to equalize twice, Comoros scores a late winner in the 85th minute. Ghana's tournament is over. The camera finds André walking off the pitch. His head is down, his shoulders are slumped. For millions of Ghanaians watching, this image becomes symbolic of everything wrong with their national team. Within minutes of the final whistle, Ghanaian social media erupts. Calls to drop the Ayew spread across platforms. Memes mock the brothers' expressions. Comment section filled with the decades of pent-up frustration. The Ayew era must end. Enough of this football royalty nonsense. They have held Ghana back for too long, but the criticism goes beyond football. It becomes personal. While many fans join the calls for change, others defend the brothers' contribution and experience. Ghana's football community finds itself divided. People attack their father, their mother, their children. The line between legitimate sporting criticism and targeted harassment disappears entirely. For the first time, being an Ayew in Ghana feels more like a curse than a blessing. Traditional media amplifies the social media rage. Sports journalists who once praised the brothers now question everything about them. Radio calling shows become therapy sessions for frustrated fans. Former players join the criticism. Even their own teammates begin to distance themselves publicly. The narrative becomes simple and destructive. The Ayews are holding Ghana back. Their privileged status prevents better players from getting opportunities. Their fathers' influence corrupts team selection. None of this is necessarily true, but truth matters less than perception in the age of viral content. December 2nd, 2022, Al Janoub Stadium, Ghana vs Uruguay. 12 years after Asamoah Gyan's penalty miss broke Ghanaian hearts, history offers a chance at redemption. Ghana needs a victory to guarantee advancement to the World Cup's knockout stages. Then it happens. Penalty to Ghana in the 21st minute. Game still 0-0. André Ayew steps up. The weight of a nation on his shoulders. The ghosts of 2010 whispering. He misses. Not just any miss. A weak effort saved comfortably by the goalkeeper. Uruguay scores twice in the first half. Ghana is eliminated. In 90 seconds, André Ayew goes from possible redeemer to definitive villain. The reaction is swift and merciless. Ghanaian fans online don't just blame André for the mess. They blame him for 12 years of failure, for wasted opportunities, for a dynasty that promised everything and delivered nothing when it mattered most. The criticism extends to his family, to his father's legacy, to the entire concept of football royalty in Ghana. Within days, calls grew for André to permanently drop for the national team. The criticism extends beyond football into personal attacks on the family's influence and legacy. The love affair is over. The divorce is brutal. But behind the viral memes and angry headlines is a human story that few consider. André Ayew has represented Ghana 120 times, more than any player in history. He has scored in World Cups, won AFCON Golden Boots, captained his country with dignity through triumph and disaster. Now, he's being treated like a traitor for missing one penalty. The psychological toll is immense. In interviews, André speaks about learning to ignore nonsense talk on social media. But how do you ignore an entire nation turning against you? How do you separate legitimate criticism from mob mentality? How do you protect your family from hatred that extends far beyond the football pitch? These are questions no player should have to answer. But in Ghana's toxic football discourse, they have become daily reality for the Ayew family. 2023, André Ayew is at the peak of his club form. 4 goals in 11 games for Le Havre. Sharp, focused, proving that class is permanent. But when Ghana's squad is announced for crucial World Cup qualifiers, his name is missing. Coach Otoado's explanation is diplomatic but devastating. There are others ahead of him. But for the first time in 15 years, André Ayew is not wanted by his national team. The exile is complete. But while other brother falls, another rises. Jordan Ayew is named Ghana's new captain. The same player who was once dismissed as too slow and only there because of his name is now trusted to lead the Black Stars into a new era. And he delivers. Hat-trick against Central African Republic, crucial winner against Mali, assist against Madagascar. In 5 World Cup qualifiers, he scores 5 goals and provides multiple assists. With 103 caps and 31 goals for Ghana, Jordan has quietly become one of the nation's most productive players. His perfect penalty record for the Black Stars stand in stark contrast to the missed opportunities that have haunted others. Jordan's transformation reveals something crucial about Ghanaian football culture. Redemption is always possible, but it requires undeniable performance when it matters most. Unlike André, who carried the burden of captaincy during Ghana's decline, Jordan inherits the armband during a period of renewal. New coach, new players, new hope. His quiet leadership style, "I prefer to do my talking on the pitch," contrasts sharply with André's more emotional approach. Where André wore his passion openly, Jordan leads through example. But the real difference is timing. Jordan gets to be captain when Ghana is building, not when they are falling apart. It is a reminder of how much context matters in football legacy. The same player can be hero or villain depending on when they peak and what the team needs at that moment. Ghana hasn't won a major trophy since 1982, 4 decades of near misses and heartbreak. In that context, any prominent player becomes a lightning rod for collective frustration. The Ayews didn't fail Ghana, they just couldn't achieve the impossible, healing 40 years of hurt with a single generation's efforts. But societies that demand perfection from their heroes often end up with no heroes at all. Today, the Ayew dynasty stands divided. Father Abedi remains influential but more cautious about public pronouncements. The question is whether this separation can heal the wounds or if the damage is permanent. For André, the path back requires more than good club form. It requires a fundamental shift in how Ghanaians view his contributions. That may take years, or it may never happen. For Jordan, the challenge is sustaining success while avoiding pitfalls that trap his brother. His quiet leadership style seems better suited to the current, but football fortunes change quickly. Somewhere in Ghana or France, young Ayews are growing up watching this drama unfold, learning that football greatness comes with cost their grandfather never imagined. Would they choose to represent Ghana, knowing the scrutiny that awaits? Would they pursue other careers entirely, deciding the family has sacrificed enough for football? Or would they see an opportunity to redeem the family name and complete the mission that has eluded 3 generations? The GFA has undergone reforms since the corruption scandals of 2018. New leadership promises more transparency in player selection and team management. But real change requires more than new faces. It requires a cultural Ghana shifts away from the suspicion and conspiracy theories that made rational discussion about the Ayew's impossible. It also requires media that prioritizes truth over clicks. Fans will separate the passion from hatred, and institutions that earn trust through consistent transparency. Without these changes, the next football dynasty will face the same destructive cycles that broke their youth. The Ayew family gave Ghana 3 generations of football excellence. They won trophies, broke records, and created moments of joy we'll forever remember. But they also learned the hardest lesson in sports. Being special is not enough. In the modern world, you must also manage perceptions, navigate media landscapes, and carry the weight of collective dreams that may be impossible to fulfill. Abedi Pele's legacy remains secure. His achievements transcend the current controversies around the Suns. Andre's story isn't over, but he may never recover from the toxicity of recent years. His statistical achievements: 120 caps, 24 goals, multiple tournament appearances, tell one story. The public perception tells another. Jordan has found a different path. His quiet resilience and recent form suggest that redemption is possible even for an Ayew. But he leads a team in transition and results matter more than surnames. Perhaps that is the ultimate lesson. In football, as in life, what you inherit matters less than what you do with it. The Ayew name opened doors, but it couldn't guarantee happiness or success or public love. Each generation must write its own story. The throne they inherited came with no guarantee of keeping it, and maybe that is how it should be. In a republic, even kings must earn their place every day. In Ghana today, one Ayew brother sits in exile while another wears the captain's armband. The dynasty continues, but in a very different form than anyone imagined. The crown, it turns out, was always heavier than it looked. But perhaps the next generation will be strong enough to carry it, or wise enough to forge their own path entirely. Only time will tell if the Ayew name becomes a blessing or a warning for Ghana's football. The throne awaits, but the kingdom may never be the same.